think we're good to go here. Let me just double check my phone here. Okay, should be good. I will change that to be all messages in chat. I said all messages in chat. Thank you. Oh, there seems to be a bit of lag today. At least on my phone. Let's see if I can remedy that a bit. Why is it lagging so much? All right. Well, hi everybody. Welcome to Noah's Monday Movie Club. Let me actually share this for Discord to make sure people know. Okay. So, let me just double check, because I don't think anyone else submitted remake ideas, but I'm going to double check that while I've got my drive open. If it'll load. Nope. Okay, we're good. Okay. Oh boy. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm a little tired. Busy weekend. And, yeah. All right. Well, you know what? While I am waiting for people to potentially join, I'm actually going to do something I haven't done in months. I'm going to do some Cinetu Nerdle. Oh, they apparently have a new site. That's how long it's been since I guess it's just Cine Nerdle. Maybe they got, yeah, I guess they got the, I know I have an account. Hang on. I gotta go to my password manager. This is why I have it all, here. Not on the thing. Not on the stream. To set some stuff up, I'm guessing. Why would you auto fill in a password a made-up password when I'm signing in and not creating an account. Yeah, save. Thank you. Okay. Ooh, there's new daily puzzles. Okay. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to... There's a new one called Assemble. So this is Cinenerdle, formerly known as Cine2Nerdle. They have some daily puzzles. There's also a more standard game that you can play whenever. But I'm going to check out Assemble. So combine criteria to assemble movies and score points. Let's see how this works. Oh, okay. So it's kind of like the Burgle, but it's kind of like the Burgle, but with stuff that applies to the film instead of... Okay, craft your card, then assemble movies that use as many cards as possible. More cards equals more points. So... each card can be used 3 times. Okay. So... we've got these cards. I think I can... get one with these 5 for sure, but I don't... oh no, I have to craft a card first. Wait, add card. Okay, let me see if this works the way I think it's... okay, so like Scarlet Joe. Add card? Okay, crafted. Hello, whomst is there?
Hello.
Heyo.
How's it going?
Good. I'm just, yes, that worked. Okay. Oh, I guess it's literally just, I have to, oh, I see how this works. Okay. So each card can be used 3 times. So I've used all of them at once, except for Comedy, T, and Tom Cruise. Okay. Well, I know... Tom Cruise, T, won an Academy Award. Can I think of a Tom Cruise film that starts with V? No, I don't think so. Okay, I see. I think Top Gun Maverick.
Edge of Tomorrow?
Yes. I think the only thing on here that would count for Edge of Tomorrow is Tom Cruise, because it's 2010. That was 2010s, right?
I think.
Yeah. Okay. Let me think of more. Okay. I maybe should have thought about... so I got to craft 1 card. I wasn't entirely sure how this game worked before, but now...
What game are you playing?
It's one of the new games on Cinenerdle's website. It is called Assemble. Essentially, I was given 8 cards to start and had to add a 9th one. And I have to name movies that meet as many of the criteria as possible. So, like, my cards are Javier Bardem, title starts with V, decade 2000s, romance, comedy, won an Academy Award, Tom Cruise, title starts with T, and the one I added was Scarlett Johansson, because immediately when I saw Javier Bardem, the 2000s romance, won an Academy Award, I thought Vicky Cristina Barcelona, so I added Scarlett Johansson. And then, so for Vicky Cristina Barcelona covered 6 of the cards. And then I was able to name Top Gun Maverick to cover Tom Cruise, T, and another one with won an Academy Award. Each card can be used 3 times. I'm trying to think of other... So I could definitely name...
I would assume
a Tom
the
Cruise.
first Top Gun also isn't.
That's 80s, so that wouldn't really... And I don't know... Well, it did win an Academy Award. I don't know if that counts as romance. I could try it, I guess. Oh, I can only name one per franchise, so no, it doesn't
Fair
matter.
enough.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, I know I can get Tom Cruise romance and won an Academy. Wait, did Jerry Maguire win an Academy Award, or was it just nominated? I don't know if it won. Oh no, Cuba Gooding Jr. won. So yeah, I could do Jerry Maguire and cover those. Okay, so that exhausts won an Academy Award. Think of other... Title starts with V is tricky. I'm trying to think of... something else that... Okay. Oh. Shit, when did Don John come out? Because that would probably fill in romance and comedy and Scarlett Johansson, but I don't know if it was 2000s or not, or 2010s. I think that might be 2010s, so that might not count. Well, I'll try it. Don John. No, it's 23rd. Okay, well, there we go. So I'm not going to use that. Trying to think of any other... Okay. Trying to think if Tom Cruise has done anything with either Javier Bardem or Scarlett Johansson. Other films that start with V. That's going to be the tricky part. It's like V, that's going to... Yeah. Like... Oh, Vanilla Sky, and that's got Tom Cruise. I know, yeah. That's probably romance. I don't know if comedy. Probably not comedy, but that would exhaust Tom Cruise, 2000s, and probably romance. I think. Yep, and okay. Cool. So no more Tom Cruise, no more romance. Ooh. But this is tricky. A comedy. So I've got 2 left for comedy, 2 left for Scarlett Johansson, 2 left for Javier Bardem, 2 left for T, 1 left for V, 1 left for 2000s. This is tough because Javier Bardem. I can't. Okay, let me think of other titles that might start with V. Valentine's Day, I don't think either Scarlett Johansson or Javier Bardem are in that. Venom, neither of them are in that. V for Vendetta, no. Ooh. Tricky. Okay. Trying to think. Other. Okay. Oh, that's 97. That's too early. Okay. Trying to think of a potential Scarlett Johansson comedy from the 2000s. Javier Bardem's going to be real tough to come up with comedy for, but my one thought is I don't know if Lyle Lyle Crocodile would count as comedy. Or Being the Ricardos. Lyle Lyle Crocodile probably would be more likely to fit. I'm going to see if that works. Yeah, that worked, but only for Javier Bardem in comedy. But I can eliminate more 2000s. I'm trying to think of the title, because I still have title that starts with V and title that starts with T. Just to get the 2000s out of there. All right. I don't know what Vulgar from 2000 is, but it eliminated V in 2000. So I'm trying to think of other stuff that starts with T with either of these actors. Oh, The Jungle Book would work for Scarlett Johansson. That's probably my best bet there. And then I've got one more for each. One more for Javier Bardem, one more for T. I'd like to group 2 and 2 if I can, because I don't think I can think of anything that groups any 3 of these 4. So I have to think hard about Javier Bardem's filmography because I don't know it that well, and I don't know if Being the Ricardos counts as comedy. Starting with T, with either Javier Bardem or Scarlett Johansson, other than The Jungle Book. Scarlett Johansson's been in so much. This should not be this hard. Think of another. Man, I'm stumped on this one. think for Javier Bardem, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and try to see if being the Ricardos count. It didn't count as comedy. Great. Okay. Well, then I'm just gonna do a Scarlett Johansson comedy and then something else with T. Titanic, sure. Okay. My biggest combo was 6 with Vicky Cristina Barcelona, obviously. Okay. That's an I'll have to go back to that game at some point because that is something that could be interesting. But since Jacob's actually here now, I want to dive right into discussion of Now You See Me. Because I watched that last night. You'd mentioned so you've seen the first Now You See Me.
I've seen the first one, yes, and
Okay.
it made me not want to see the subsequent two.
That's fair. And the fourth one they're apparently working on.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I so I watched Now You See Me 1 last night, and I was compelled to watch the next one since it was also on Tubi. So I watched Now You See Me 2 right before this stream started. I was gonna try my my mom took up a bit of my time this morning, so I was going to try to also watch Now You See Me, Now You Don't. The third one, but I did not have time for that. If I had delayed the stream any longer, I would have been very crunched for time for even doing this stream, because I work at 5:30. So, but yeah, I yeah. So I was very interested. I've been curious about this series because I've heard not good things, but like, it's a very interesting premise. Uh I think that interesting premise did a decent amount of heavy lifting for most of the movie because I was just interested to
Yep.
see what they would do with it.
Yeah.
Not ultimately interested in most of what they did with it, but
It's kind of annoying because, like, structurally, like, magic tricks, heists, and mysteries are things that align really neatly together
yeah.
because they all have the same kind of setup, diversion, twist, like, prestige reveal kind of setup to them,
Yeah.
and it tries a bit to make those work together, and in doing so, fuck them all up simultaneously.
Yeah, I think the beginning of this movie really set up like what the rest of the film would be like for me because I really enjoy the intro to Merritt McKinney, Woody Harrelson's character, the mentalist. I really liked. I think that's a very that intro where like he hypnotizes the woman and then he gets her husband to admit to having an affair with her sister, and then
Yep.
has him
And
pay
then
him off
blackmails
to
it into
not
wiping her memory.
tell his wife about it. And like the ending punctuation of like, anytime you think of her sister, you will see me naked. Like that I think is a great intro to that character. And then all the other character intros are subpar. um First of all,
I can't even remember what two of them are. I just remember like his and the girl with the fake piranha tank.
yeah, that one I knew pretty infamously about because Isla Fisher actually almost drowned while filming that scene. Um,
God, what about that? Jeez.
yeah. But yeah, Jesse Eisenberg or J. Daniel Atlas has the like the "Is this your card trick?" and he makes the card appear on the side of a skyscraper.
Yeah.
And
I remember
then
that.
Dave Franco does like the spoon bending. Or is like, oh, you didn't actually bend that spoon. Oh, I guess I didn't. And then he just steals the guy's wallet. Um, One of my biggest critiques about this film, because I love the idea of having like the different types of magicians. You've got the hypnotist mentalist type. You've got Isla Fisher playing Henley, this escape artist who's also a former assistant. But there's very little distinction between the skill sets of J. Daniel Atlas and Jack Wilder. They're both street
Because they're
magicians.
both like sleight of hand
They
guys.
both,
Yeah.
yeah, they both do sleight of hand. It's interesting because, like, on the Wikipedia article, they mention sleight of hand for Dave Franco for Jack Wilder, but not for J. Daniel Atlas, even though card tricks are inherently sleight of hand. So,
Yeah.
like, they do very little to distinguish those two until later in the movie where Dave Franco is able to perfectly mimic Mark Ruffalo's voice, which isn't a magician thing. I can do that. Like, I mean, I can't perfectly mimic Mark Ruffalo, but, like, I do impressions.
Yeah. And like there are like other like skills you could prioritize on a character to make sense as like the fourth of the four horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
Like just think offhand, like being a being a contortionist, really useful skill for a magician, and also the kind of skill that is fun to have in a heist movie.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I guess that idea is really cool, but also probably too demanding in terms of like you either have to hire an actual contortionist, in which case you're probably not going to get a big name to play that part, or you have to like do special effects wizardry to get it to look like your big name is doing the contortionist work.
And I mean, like, that's essentially just like a stunt double setup anyway.
Yeah, which is yeah. So that was they were probably like, it's too much work. But yeah, they do very little to distinguish those two characters' skill sets. This becomes even more apparent in the sequel where Jack Wilder is being trained by Merritt McKinney to do the mentalist stuff. So, like, he already doesn't have his own identity, and now he's learning the tricks of another one of the more unique ones. Um, yeah. They also, the movie is weirdly sexist towards, Henley. First of all, they have the trope of like, oh, her and J. Daniel Atlas had a thing. And it's weird because that makes you think like, oh, they're gonna do the thing where like they don't get along, but then they end up back together in the end, which doesn't really happen, at least in this movie. It is implied to have happened in between the first and the second, but also the sequel does the other stereotypical thing where the female love interest gets from the first movie gets written off and replaced by someone else, because Isla Fisher, I guess, either wasn't available or didn't want to return for the sequel. She's in the third one, but yeah, she did not return for the sequel, so they replace her with a new character, Lula, played by fuck, blanking on the name. The goth girl from Mean Girls, Lizzie Kaplan. Um, and for what it's worth, Lizzie Kaplan's performance is a highlight of the second movie. She is doing the absolute best she can with what she's given, which is the fact that her character is even worse written than Henley was in the first one.
Mhm.
Um, and because she's younger, they establish early on, like, very blatantly that she is attracted to Dave Franco's character, but they don't really build that up much, except they kiss at the end. So, yeah.
What are your thoughts on Morgan Freeman's character's
Morgan
role
Freeman
in
is the
this?
best part of the first movie. Easily. Thaddeus, like, I
Agreed.
love what he is doing as Thaddeus Bradley.
Same. I just, I just kind of wish that he, because like structurally, one of his big roles is to explain all the magic tricks.
Mm-hmm.
I do kind of, and this comes back to like our protagonist being the twist villain. Spoilers, I guess. Uh, the protagonist being the twist villain, he can't be the one figuring out the tricks because it conflicts with his role in things. So they have another guy walk into the room, functionally walk into a room, look around, and Sherlock Holmes go, "Aha! I know everything that went on here," and explain it for everyone. So you can't. So there's no like real.
Yeah, it's obviously just very blatant,
Because in
like,
theory,
just
like
talking at you, explaining what
yeah,
happens. They did
yeah,
a very.
and it doesn't.
I mean, it was
And
very
he
smart
doesn't,
to
and
cast
he,
Morgan
and
Freeman to do
prevents you
that
from.
because I can't get too mad listening
True,
to
yeah,
his voice exposit.
true, yeah. It's just a big shame that you don't get to figure out any of the tricks. Because
Yes.
they're functionally little mini mysteries, but you
Yeah.
don't get to actually interact with them as mysteries. In part because of that, and also in part because at a certain point they just become doing actual magic.
Yeah. I guess it's interesting how I'm just, you know what? I'm just gonna dive right into the twist. Because you brought it up. And it's interesting how you describe it as our protagonist becoming the twist villain, where I would say it's almost the reverse. Because, like, I'm rooting for most of this time, I'm rooting for the horsemen. Like, they're set up as, like, these Robin Hood types, and the whole conflict is, like, the FBI is trying to catch them and failing at every turn, and the main FBI agent on the case is Mark Ruffalo's character, Dylan Rhodes. And at the end, he is revealed to actually be the mastermind behind everything. A secret magician in his own right, and also the son of a legendary magician who died during, presumably died. As far as the first sequel is concerned, he is still dead. But I wouldn't be entirely surprised if the third or a future
Yes.
movie reveals no, he actually did escape and has been in hiding. Could see that being a fourth movie thing. 'Cause I think the third movie, from what I know, is mostly focused on like the horseman, and then I don't even think Mark Ruffalo's in the third one. But they've got like young magicians that they're training. One of which I completely forgot about last week when I was talking about my Kingdom of the Crystal Skull remake pitch. Dominic Sessa, the actor who I have as the Mutt equivalent, he is one of the new cast members in the third one. I completely forgot that he did that. Because that film really feels like came and went. Like it came out. I, the the most I remember from like the marketing and the lead up to that third one's release last year, was Jesse Eisenberg making a joke about the Kit Kats being stolen, because that whole like Kit Kat heist happened right before the third one came out. So there was a joke in an interview about Jesse Eisenberg having something to do with it. Um, but that was it. That's like the thing that was the most memorable part of that film's marketing.
I
And
guess
it
part of the reason why I conceptualize like Mark Ruffalo's character as protagonist more than the Horseman is because like the film's desire to do the prestige reveal of how the magic tricks work means that we have an inherent distance from like
the Horsemen, yeah.
the four horsemen and what they're doing and what they're planning and what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a distance that instead gets compensated for by our quote
The
unquote
FBI, who I think,
the FBI agents, yeah.
and like you
Who in
bringing
like
it
in a
up
heist movie, the focus on the villains would be in the more antagonistic role, but since we're not allowed that proximity to the actual criminals,
yeah, and
he
it's
kind of becomes
like,
more the protagonist, at least in my head.
yeah, and I guess like I mean I wrote this note down before I got to the ending. One of my other big critiques was I felt like we were focusing too much on the FBI, because like they just weren't as interesting of characters as neither him or the Interpol agent, who's played by the French woman from who burns the theater down in Inglourious Basterds. Uh, um, they yeah, I was like, they're not nearly as interesting of characters as the Horsemen. And the Horsemen, unfortunately, most of them aren't given too much depth either. But like conceptually, they're more interesting than just FBI agent. And then yeah, we do get that twist that Mark Ruffalo's character is the son of a a legendary magician who died. And my Letterboxd review sums it up pretty well. That ending twist is Danganronpa level bullshit. Cue Mozart concerto, because bullshit is the what's it called? The word that activates a sleeper agent, like, or that activates the people
yeah.
who are,
I'm also blanking on the word, but I get what you mean.
But like, because a bunch of people at the show got hypnotized into thinking
Trigger
they were
phrase,
they performed at the Philharmonic, and so whenever someone says bullshit, someone randomly starts miming like they're playing a musical instrument, and yeah, but yeah, because this is the exact kind of twist that I absolutely fucking hate. Because it is just a twist for twist's sake that they did not factor into the rest of the movie. Because there is zero foreshadowing for that twist. It like completely doesn't make sense with his character. And there are like any clues that point to him being the one behind this point more so to the Interpol agent or someone else, but like it is like it they were writing this, you could tell and this makes a lot of sense because there were like 4 or 5 fucking writers on this script. Okay, 3, but still. lot of hands on this script. And you this is the kind of twist where, like, they were like, okay, what's the most surprising thing that could happen at the end? Oh, it turns out that Mark Ruffalo's character was actually a magician the whole time and the mastermind behind it all. But they did not factor any foreshadowing of that twist into like, I guarantee that I could watch this film again and there would be, like, nothing to clue me into the fact that that is the twist. Like, there's nothing. It is just a twist for twist's sake. Like, there is zero build up to it. I fucking hate that. And this is the kind of twist that, like, why I say Danganronpa level bullshit. This is what Danganronpa always fucking does. Is, like... And which, weirdly, the only direct parallel to a Danganronpa twist is the twist in the first chapter of the third game, which is the series' best
with
twist.
The actual magician?
Is actually build up. Yeah, where it's revealed the character that you were playing as at first that you thought was the protagonist is actually the murderer in the first case.
Yep.
But it is a twist where, like, there are clues to it. Like, you can figure, like, there is stuff that you can latch onto and read. You can detect on a second reading, which I don't know why anyone would ever want to play through Danganronpa a second time. But, like, the vast majority of Danganronpa twists don't have that. They either don't have that, it's just a twist that comes out of nowhere, like this twist, or a twist that's so blatantly obvious nobody could not see it coming. There's no balance in most Danganronpa cases. And yeah, this is definitely one where it's like, there's no evidence that Dylan is the mastermind, and it just doesn't work. It's like, without that twist ending, I would have probably given this first movie a 5 out of 10. 'Cause, like, I was intrigued for most of it, even though most of it wasn't particularly good. But that twist brings it down to, like, a 3 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
It's just so tight. It just fucks with the ass and it's so hard. It's almost impressive.
Yeah. It's like on the same level, because I mentioned that great twist in the first case of Danganronpa V3. That twist is subsequently completely ruined in the final chapter of the game.
Yeah.
Because it turns out, yes, the protagonist did put that plan into motion, but her plan actually didn't work, and the true mastermind is the one who actually carried out the murder, which means they broke the rules of the game. But the masterminds always love breaking their own established rules in Danganronpa, so it's par for the course. But yeah, the ending twist sucks. Yeah, I really don't care for most of the stuff, and I like Mark Ruffalo as an actor. It's just that his character is uninteresting and is mostly in the worst parts of the movie. Like, I also don't care for the fight and chase scene with him and Dave Franco. And I like Dave Franco too, but again, his character is like barely has a purpose like he barely has his own identity, so they have to give him this individual segment where he's getting chased by the FBI and like using some of his skills that again have a lot of overlap with others, and then the one skill that isn't magic is just impressionists. um yeah, it's like
Yeah.
yeah. um I do want to highlight a part of this movie I do really like though. I love the second heist, quote unquote, the show where I forget where they're performing it. Um,
New Orleans, I think. I,
yes,
I
that
don't know
sounds
why I
right.
remember that it was in New Orleans.
But yeah, the show where um they reveal that they scammed Michael Caine's character out of millions of dollars. Uh, that I love that. That's the kind of thing where it's like, okay, they did the mentalist thing earlier to get those answers out of him, and it has a great payoff. And you're not thinking of it in the moment when the scene on the jet is happening
Yeah.
where they're asking him about his childhood and they get the answers out of him for his security questions. Like you're not thinking about the security question thing. Like you're just thinking like, oh, they're just failing at what they're like, because it's Jesse Eisenberg trying to do the mentalist thing, and it's like, oh no, you're wrong. It's actually this such and such. This you predicted it wrong. Um, but that was all just a ploy to get him to
Yeah,
reveal
the
his
actual
answers to
thing.
the security questions so they could log into his bank account and
Yeah.
take a bunch of his money and give it to people that his insurance company screwed over. Love
Yeah.
that.
Which, fun fact, astoundingly effective strategy in real life.
Yeah, that's like I love
People
that.
people love to correct each other, so you can really get people to fuck themselves over by just presenting wrong information
Yeah.
confidently in the right circumstance.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's so because it's uh it's such a great use of the idea of um man, especially like hypnotism stuff. Even though it's not quite hypnotism, but it's just that trickery stuff. And it's a really good use of that because you know that like there's no actual magic involved. It's just they tricked him. Um which is great because so much of what these movies do, it's like, no, how the fuck did they pull that off without actual magic? Like there's so
Yeah,
like the CGI curtains in the first that are like flying around the stage in the first movie in the first
yeah,
show in Vegas. Like how the fuck? Like there's way too much CGI in this movie. And it makes like I meant to rewatch it. I didn't quite have time, but I want to rewatch a video that Leo Vader. I want to shout out this YouTuber, Leo Vader. He made a video a while back, covering the first two Now You See Me movies. This was years before the third one came out. But he was like, "Are these guys wizards or what?" Like that was the whole point of the video, like
yeah.
trying to figure out like what the fuck they could have done with real magician stuff and what the fuck they would need actual magic for. Um, like, because there are so many things in these movies where it's like, how the fuck did you do that? Like, without actual magic. And the movie implies that there is actual, like, it never explicitly states that these guys have actual fucking magic. But it is implied that the eye is like actual magic, kind of.
Yeah.
It's like inconsistent logic, because also like the second film, like there's more like, wait, how the fuck did you do that? But they also directly explain more of it. I don't know. It's hard to explain because like I'm not sure. It's very confusing. Like, is there supposed to be real magic or not? But yeah. Um They also like the sequel also doubles down. Although I already mentioned how it doubles down on Jack barely having a personality or like individuality to him,
Yeah.
but also they double down on like the girl member is girl, and can do sexy stuff. Because like in Isla Fisher in Henley's intro in the first movie they like rip her clothes off and she's in this sexy glittery outfit when she goes into the tank. And then in the sequel there's the scene where they're stealing this like this computer stick that can unlock anyone's device and get all their information. Um and they're getting like searched, they're getting like patted down by the guards, and like as they're passing the stick around like attached to a playing card, which is the best scene in the second movie. Like both of these movies peak in the middle.
Yeah.
Um,
The card, the quote unquote sleight of hand card scene is. It's the one scene that I've seen of the second movie, and
yeah,
you can definitely tell looking at it why.
yeah, it is the best part of the second movie because it's like it uses the magic, the like sleight of hand stuff in a fun way. It looks cool. Like you can tell this is the film that John M. Chu took over for directing because it's the most visually interesting thing in either of the first two movies. Um yeah, John M. Chu being attached to the second one really got my hopes up that it would be better. But overall it's not. Yeah. But in that scene there's a moment where Lizzie Kaplan's character Lula takes off her bra without like from under her shirt, which isn't really like a magic like, but
I mean,
I don't know. It's like I get like
What,
the incorporation of that into sleight of hand sort of thing, but also it's like you're doing the same thing you did with
it,
Isla Fisher in the first one, where it's just like, oh,
it,
she does sexy magic because she's a woman.
it's also it is also very much like the goat, almost the go-to hack example of woman magic trick.
Yeah,
It's just taking
exactly.
the bra off in an unconventional, I guess, in a way that a dude doesn't understand.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. This is also something. One video I did rewatch because it was shorter is Dan Harmon famously has like multiple bits about Now You See Me in his stand-up and on his podcast.
Hmm.
First of all, it's so funny because like the funniest bit from his because he did this bit around the time Now You See Me 2 came out, and the funniest part is him just talking about like how he would have made the movie different, how he would have handled the franchise, and like in regards to the sequel, he just shouts, "I would have called it Now You Don't." It's like, which
It
is so funny, especially
genuinely, how
because
the
they
fuck did
then
they
did it
not
for the
make it
third
that?
one. Like, I mean, they still did it Now You See Me, Now You Don't, not just Now You Don't. But like, yeah, the second one should have been called Now You Don't. Like,
Yeah, because then it could have been now you see me, now you don't, now you see me, now you don't.
yeah, I mean,
It
it would
still
have
would
bit
have worked
stupid if they
with
did that
the
and then
third. It would
did
have been a bit
both for the
confusing, but
third
it
one.
would
But
have worked.
yeah, yeah, like, but he was talking about like a big part of his original bit about it is I don't think anyone who made this movie thought they were gonna make a sequel. It's like he made a joke about how like streaming services should have a just kidding button. Like hey, I'm watching this as a joke. Like I it's like which is true, which honestly absolutely true. Especially considering how many fucking kissing booth movies Netflix made. I mean, they made 3, but like still, that's 3 too many, and there should be a just kidding button where you could be like, yeah, I was watching this as a joke, because like so many shitty streaming
Oh god,
movies
I'm
get
sure.
continuations that
Oh god,
way.
I'm sure whoever decided to put Morbius back in theaters would have loved if just kidding was an option.
Yeah, for theaters, yeah, yes, exactly. It's like, um, yeah, but yeah, yeah, Dan Harmon's his bits about Now You See Me are very funny. But yeah, he points out like the weird sexism thing going on there with both movies. He's also like, I love how he describes Jack Wilder too. He's like, first of all, he's like one of the Francos. It's like he doesn't remember which Franco it is. Um, it's like one of the Francos plays a guy who does like spoon bending and pickpocketing, and then later on he becomes a car racer and a mimic. It's like just such a funny way to describe, and accurate to describe his character,
Yeah.
because you know they had to do the whole like faking out his death on the car chase thing. Yeah, yeah, it's like, yeah, um, yeah. Again, this is a movie that's like theoretically has such potential, but just really squanders it. Um, and yeah, again, I haven't watched the third one yet, but that has the best reviews of the 3. Like, it's the only one with a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, maybe they figured out what the hell they were doing in that one.
So I don't know if that one is. Granted, it's barely there. It's a 61%. So it's barely fresh. But like, yeah, yeah. And now comes the question, because like I I just watched Now You See Me last night. I could have theoretically come up with more an idea for how to tackle like a remake or reimagining, but I watched this I got done with Now You See Me 1 at midnight last night, because my mom also wanted to watch Obsession last night, so I did that first. Man, that movie's still.
How was that?
I talked about it on my first Monday Movie Club. At the time, it was my favorite of the year. The Invite has since surpassed it, and that hasn't changed with the rewatch. But that rewatch did cement how fucking good Obsession is, and my mom loved it as well, which is great.
Nice.
But yeah, so I'm like, here's the thing with like, here's the problem with trying to pitch a remake to this movie. You have a habit of pitching me to make remakes to movies where there's issues. I mean, this one's it's more.
I mean, issues make things fun.
Yeah, I mean the
I
more
say if I'm doing this intentionally.
true, it does make it more interesting. Because like with Short Circuit, it was like, oh yeah, this is a film that a lot of people like, but also has a lot of issues, and there's very easy ways to like, there's a lot you could do with a Short Circuit remake, whereas like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is like, what the fuck do I do? like it, which granted I came up with a pretty cool idea from, not to toot my own horn, but Now You See Me, there's the issue of it the first film is 2013, which in my mind feels still a little too recent to like get the remake treatment. And also it's a continuing franchise that just got its third installment last year. So it's like, especially like with like figuring out like who I would like cast to play like the characters, I almost considered like, I almost want to like, you know how people will make like 8-bit demakes of film?
Yeah.
Like, I almost want to pitch like, what if this movie got made in the 80s or 90s or something like that, and like figure out how it would work then.
Now, okay, I'm now conceptualizing an April Fool's bit where you attempt to do that, but then at the end you realize, wait a second, I'm just reprinting The Prestige.
yeah, that's the thing, is like, The Prestige. I also love The Prestige so much, and it's been a while since I've watched The Prestige. I haven't actually watched it since we did it for the podcast, but that was the other thing that like kept coming up in my. I was just like, man, this is just not as interesting of an implementation of like a thriller with magicians as The Prestige. Obviously is just on my mind because The Odyssey is out now.
Yeah.
Still gotta figure out when I'm gonna go see that, but it's been really doing real well at the theater I work at.
Yeah, I heard.
But yeah.
That Nolan guy still draws an audience, it seems.
Yeah, but yeah, so I don't know if it like, because like I was like, the title of this stream is Can We Remake Now You See Me? I thought maybe we could like collaborate on ideas. Like,
Yeah, so good. I
because you
think,
did come up with the,
yeah.
you were like, oh, could we do one live? And I'm like, oh, that'd be a fun idea if I'm prepared, and now I am kind of. Um.
I
So.
think one change that could help the movie a lot is switching the protagonist role to the character in Morgan Freeman's position.
Yeah. Yeah,
Then
because,
you
like.
because that you could still do like the twist with the FBI agent, for example, but it would decouple, but one, it would seem a little you would change how you could present that character so it will come off a little less bullshit. And two, it allows you to get in the mind of someone who who's like solving the magic tricks,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is a which I think in a movie like this is a really good thing to have. Like, there's a reason why Morgan Freeman segments are some of the most fun, and it's in part because it's just fun to hear like a convoluted Rube Goldberg machine plot get laid out sometimes, and getting to actually get into the head of someone solving one of those would also be fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
Yeah.
fucking detective stories are such a popular thing.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. From. Yeah. Yeah, because they almost like they because it feels like they tried to do that a little bit in the second one, because like at the end of the second one, I assume you do not care about spoilers.
Nah, go ahead.
At the end of the second one, it's revealed that Thaddeus Bradley is part of the Eye. Um,
Sure, why not?
yeah, it's a twist that at least makes more sense than the FBI than Dylan being a member of the Eye. There's at least like, yeah, that makes sense. We know he's a former magician, and you see him in the second one doing more magic tricks. Because like he makes a deal with Dylan where it's like, um
Yeah.
but like what was I say? Yeah, so he's in prison, but he makes a deal with Dylan to like help him find the horsemen, because the horsemen get tricked into ending up in China by the illegitimate son of Michael Caine's character from the original, played by Daniel Radcliffe, who is also doing his best with what he's given, but his villain is very stereotypical and he's not given enough screen time to really shine. And then also they've teamed up with the twin brother of Woody Harrelson's character. Uh yeah, like his twin brother has a twin, his character has a twin brother who is also a mentalist, by the way. Like, it's just they don't distinguish
Oh
those
god,
two.
I think I fucking remember this from the trailers or something. Like, isn't he like an evil, like the quote unquote evil mentalist in comparison?
Yeah, like he's just doing the same stuff is the thing. It's like there's not really any difference in their skill set except that he gets outsmarted at the end because we want the horseman to win. Um it's yeah, like um yeah, it's like their backstory is like they were a two-person act, and then there was some party where like the twin, like Chase, the brother was, and the evil one, he wasn't able to go, and so Merritt did a solo act and liked being a solo act, so he just continued being a solo act, and his brother now resents him for it. And like in the first one, I also do appreciate like of the Horsemen, I do like Woody Harrelson the most, performance wise and skill set wise. Um, Particularly because like it's really, I find it really interesting how that mentalist stuff works because I have actually been hypnotized, so I
Mm-hmm.
know that that's legit. Um, but it's really interesting. Yeah, I'm really fascinated by how that stuff works. Um, and like Woody Harrelson's clearly having a lot of fun in the role in the first movie. In the second one, he's still having fun, but with the evil brother, he's almost having a little too much fun. It feels like it because the brother's a lot like more like chewing the scenery and almost flamboyant at times. But yeah, he's also in a bad wig. I think they tanned him a bit uh for the twin brother, but yeah. Um but yeah, um okay. Um yeah, okay. So you've got the idea of it for like a remake shifting focus from the FBI investigation to Thaddeus Bradley instead, so that so we be I wrote so we be solving the magic tricks along with him. So so we're solving the magic tricks along with him. Um I do really like the contortionist angle. Um um yeah. I'm trying to think of like any other areas of like performance magic could that could be incorporated more. Um
I guess like kind of going to it a little bit like a big thing in magic tricks is the idea of the plant,
Mm.
where like you get a where you get a where you just plants in a secret assistant in the audience to come up on stage for a trick so that you don't have to like deal with the random bullshit of a specific person and they can help carry the illusion of the trick.
You know what? That is actually that's you know what I like. You know what I want to do with that?
Yep.
If we're gonna keep the twist of the FBI agent being like in on it, make the FBI agent the plant. That helps build up that twist more.
Oh, well,
And like
yeah.
he can like
Oh, yeah,
feign
sure.
like no, I don't want to be a part of this. Like that gives him more opportunity to like act like he's against them. Where it where like people who know the twist can tell that he's acting, whereas like in the first movie it's like no, like he it's clearly written where he actually wants to stop these guys until the twist. Um like there's clearly there's no semblance of like oh, well this could be an act. Uh but
So we go from mastermind to plant for the agent. It also strains credulity a lot less to have him just be secretly working with them rather than secretly be responsible for everything.
yeah.
Not everything, but you get the point.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And again with yeah, I like the idea of him yeah, the FBI agent being a plant. Um and yeah, and with the idea of um Thaddeus Bradley being the quote unquote protagonist instead of Dylan. I feel like seeing less of Dylan will also help lend that give that twist a
Yeah.
little more credulity because like again, I feel like we see way too much of Dylan in the first movie both in terms of interest and in terms of like there we see so much of him and there's zero indication in any of his scenes prior to the twist that he is working with that like there's zero clues there except for the one where like Thaddeus Bradley is like well their help could be coming from the inside um and that leads us to suspect the Interpol agent, which would make more sense as a twist than Dylan Rhodes. Um, yeah. Yeah, did you like with the plant you seem to suggest like oh, we could still have the twist of his involvement but not make him the mastermind like he is in the first like just like he's part of the
Yeah.
group, but not the mastermind. Um, but
And no, even with switching of the focus, I do think like keeping like Morgan Freeman's character getting like wrongfully imprisoned would. I still think that could work as like a part of the twist at the end, in part because it sets up for a sequel a little more nicely in this version.
you know, um, but yeah, um, yeah, I also think like less focus on action sequences, because like I think both movies suffer from like the most interesting part of the movie in the very middle being closely followed by just an action sequence that has like a little bit of magic trickery to it, but like the same result could happen without the magic trickery. You know, like it's like an action sequence where like the magic is just supplemental.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, we again, there's the one between Jack and Dylan in the first movie, and in the second movie, there's a remarkably similar sequence, but kind of turns it on its head where Dylan is in the Jack role because you know he's openly working with the. Yeah, also that whole fight. Yeah, that whole fight sequence actually does not make any fucking sense with the twist. Cause there's numerous in there because there's a good portion of that fight where like Jack and Dylan are on their own with like no one else from the FBI within like viewing distance of them. So like it does not make sense that they are fighting. It doesn't make sense that they're keeping up the fighting when no one else from the FBI is. And it, yeah, no, it like, why the fuck do they have Dave Franco mimic? I, yeah, no, I'm like, I don't know how to rewrite that to make it make more sense with the twist. Apart from just cutting the action sequences, because yeah, no, it's like yeah, no, the stuff with the
I
twist.
think you could leave in like parts of the action sequences because like I think you just need the caveat of someone like the Thaddeus Bradley character being there to watch them so they have a reason to keep up the act.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Um. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Yeah. I'm also like, I'm trying to think of what to do about the because like another issue I have is like the third the third heist, quote unquote, of the first movie feels very anticlimactic. Because, like, they just, like, say, like, oh, thank you for believing in us. And then they, like, make their escape. And the money that they have raining down is fake.
Yeah,
And
it does feel a little bit like they structured it with the idea of like that quote unquote heist there being like the misdirection for the actual robbery that was going on in
yeah,
that segment of the film,
yeah,
but also didn't have any ideas of what to put there.
yeah, like, yeah, and also, like, I'm not sure how I feel about the eye in I almost feel. I
The eye
feel
is just like
like.
a thing that exists for the sake of like setting up a larger universe for the thing rather
Yeah,
than being thing that's relevant for this story in particular.
yeah. I feel like. I feel like the. If we're gonna keep the structure of this first movie where it's like three different heists that are connected, um we should try to connect them more. But also I feel like the second heist, we both agree that like the second heist is the best part.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be the third and that should be like the big reveal. Like it could even be a thing of like the FBI agent, like the FBI agent's involvement. It also could make more sense because like maybe there's less, like, tie it more into like him investigating the insurance company potential, like, and make that second heist the last one
Yeah, I think that makes
where like
sense.
that was the point. Like it's not, they're not trying to join this like secret society of magicians that might actually be magic. They're like, their whole goal was to take down this guy because that him being their benefactor, like after the second heist, he doesn't do anything in the movie. He doesn't get to do anything after the second heist. Like he has the
Because he's not
interaction with
their
Thaddeus
benefactor anymore,
Bradley.
so they don't have a reason to keep him around structurally.
Yeah, but then he's the main villain of the second movie because it's the twist where like the Daniel Radcliffe character is his son. So like because like that whole plot is him getting revenge on the Horsemen. And so like yeah, it's like cuz also then it doesn't like I'm a little confused on why he even was a benefactor to them. Like, what was his goal there? Like, what was his goal? What was his goal before they screwed him over in the second act?
Uh,
Like, why did he bring them together? That's also that's also an interesting thing. Like, because the second movie
I guess he
does a
just thought he
lot
could
of
make a lot
stuff
of
that
money off the shows or something.
the second movie does a lot of stuff the first movie should have done. I'm real like because the second movie also has more interpersonal conflict between the horsemen. It's like but it doesn't make sense within the context of the second movie, really. Cause like in the first movie, you see they get their like tarot cards to meet up at this place. And then like and they meet up and like there's tension there between all of them. Uh and then it cuts to a year later and they're friends and doing this magic show together. And it seems like they've been working together for like this isn't necessarily their first magic show together.
Yeah.
That's the implication that I get anyway. And it's like, okay, they just skip the part where they have to learn to work together. But then they go back to doing that in the sequel. It's a lot more about them having to learn to work together. Which doesn't make sense because they already learned to work together. It's almost like the sequel is only like that because Isla Fisher didn't return and so they brought in a new character. But then they gave interpersonal conflict to all of them. Yeah, like whole point of the shows was coming over yeah, like and that would also help us like get to know the horsemen better if you move the interpersonal conflict to the first movie. Because like again, there can be the two kind of plots. There so like three plots going on. You can have the magic stuff, the actual like magic shows, but then you have the plots of these magicians learning to work together. These different types of magicians learning to work together to pull off this grand heist they have planned. And then you have the Thaddeus Bradley character trying to like figure out how they're doing it. And like maybe he's like both working with the FBI, but there's also conflict there. Cause like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's this one is also kind of hard to like come up with like making a story that like works cohesively while also staying true to the original intent, like staying true to the original idea. But Yeah. Um. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Um. Okay. So, what we have as far as like changes to make is shift making Thaddeus Bradley the protagonist. So we're him solve the miss watching him solve the tricks and solve and potentially solving them along with him. Um make Dylan Rhodes the plant so that it better sets up his involvement and he can more easily feign um like reluctance to be the plant.
Mm.
um uh Substituting Jack Wilder for a contortionist. um uh I'd say like less focus on action sequences, more on like the more on like the mental stuff. Like you know, the more focus on the mystery, less on the action. Um,
Yeah. Like if we're going to do like action especially, we can put that in the magic tricks themselves.
yeah, exactly. Like limit the action to like the magic shows and like the height, like the magic heists. Um, moving the second heist to be the last heist, and the whole plan was just to screw over this benefactor. But that okay. So we also need to like why did he bring them together? Cuz like
I think from his perspective, like the reason can be just as simple as like he thought he could make a lot of money off of the magic show because like they were fairly popular magicians prior to getting together or something.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and maybe like there is like And maybe it's a thing where, like, um, ooh, here's an idea. What if we don't learn his identity? What if we don't learn the identity of their benefactor right away? And maybe, like, there's a situation where, like, the FBI actually did dive into, like, some sort of, like shady stuff that his insurance company was doing, and maybe not, like, shut, or maybe they do, like something happened with the FBI that made him need to shift focus, like, find an alternative to, like, make more money that wasn't just screwing people with insurance. Like the FBI did some digging into his shady insurance practices. Um, or maybe is currently digging. Maybe, like,
Well, we could do that. Like, FBI was doing involved in a previous investigation into insurance stuff, but couldn't like get anything to stick. So like the entertainment venue was a bit of a business pivot for the guy, and also we could have that be the connection to the Mark Ruffalo character.
yeah.
Maybe he was someone who was working on investigating them and investigating the guy and knew he was up to some shit but couldn't prove it. And so he agrees to work with the Four Horsemen as a way to basically get justice on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that also, again, better sets up the twist. Uh, and maybe, like, here's an idea. He is, like, maybe he's, like, still trying to investigate Arthur Tressler, but the FBI pulls him off of that case in order to like, they hear about this heist that the Horsemen do, and they, like, the first heist that happens could be, roughly similar to what happens with the first case, the first heist in the original movie. Um,
Maybe, but I feel like
where,
for
like,
him working with the Horsemen, that would need to be set up a lot earlier. It doesn't make as much sense if he's not already involved. If he's not like, if they can't be sure that he wouldn't be involved in the case because he was working on something else.
yeah, like, maybe, like, he hasn't been. Hmm. I'm trying to think of how, like, just to set up better his involvement and, like, make it where, like, yeah, um, well, yeah, maybe we could still do, like, yeah, because if all the heists are building up to, yeah, I'm trying, yeah, I'm just, like, trying to think of how to phrase what I'm trying to get at here. Like, um, Yeah, hmm. Trying to think of what I'm trying to. Okay, well, yeah. Um, I'm not sure. I'm gonna be able to articulate what I'm. Yeah, we'll just. Yeah. So yeah. For never mind what I was going to say, because I'm not sure I'm able to articulate like what I was trying to get at there. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah. So yeah. Um, one sec.
Okay, sorry, my headphones screwed up. Didn't catch like the last few seconds of what you were saying.
No worries. I wasn't really saying anything. Um, um, okay, so yeah, we've got okay, so shifting focus from the FBI investigation to Thaddeus Bradley. Uh, they will still have like the FBI investigation be part of it, but like more focus on like them coming to him and like like most of the FBI stuff we see is either like them coming to Thaddeus Bradley, like trying to figure out how the magic tricks worked, and then during the magic tricks with Dylan being a seemingly unwilling plant, or like being used in the tricks seemingly unwillingly when in fact he is actually the plant. Um, then yeah, we have the substituting Jack Wilder for a contortionist. Um, uh, um, yeah, reserving the action for the magic heists themselves. Um, Making the second heist the last heist, and that being the whole point. Okay, so in terms of this, then if we're following like the three heist structure, um, we so with the first heist, do we think of like keeping it relatively the same, but
I think that would still work.
yeah, um um but in that case, what do we have the What then, I wonder, happens with the second heist? If what was the second heist is going to be the last heist, what then do we do for the second heist? Or the second act?
What do you mean, like in terms of like the specific central magic trick, or like
Yeah, like what is what fills the second heist's place if we're moving that to. I wonder, because okay, I'm trying to think, because you
the
like the
third
idea of
one
still
has like this big
having.
mentalist thing aspect to it. The first
Yeah,
one is this big stage set piece. Maybe the second one can, because we still have like the sleight of hand guy and the contortionist,
mhm.
but the contortionist guy is in theory doing the side quest that is the secret fourth heist. So the second heist could then be like based off of some kind of elaborate sleight of hand thing, maybe, really sleight of hand type thing, not literally sleight of hand.
Yeah. Um. Also, just like another thought I had. Um. In terms of like the group dynamic, I wonder if it's. I just had a thought about making the mentalist the leader in like essentially like Woody Harrelson's character would be the leader instead of Jesse Eisenberg's character.
Could maybe
Just
work.
like because of like the mentalist angle, and a lot of this real
It also figures the last
also,
trick being his.
yeah, just stems from a lot of this also just stems from like me being more familiar with that side of magic than others, but
Fair enough.
and a key thing, because there's a key thing with like hypnotism specifically, um is that um something they stress, because there's a hypnotist that came to my college, that's when I got hypnotized, and one of the things they've stressed in, I've been to one or two other hypnotist shows, one from the same guy at the college, one during my senior all-nighter in high school, um but one of the things they stress in hypnotist shows is that the hypnotist can only make you you cannot be hypnotized to do something you are not willing to do without hypnotism, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which I think is they stress that because that's a common misconception, that like hypnotism is just like completely taking over your mind and making you do stuff you wouldn't normally do. um that a hypnotist cannot make you do stuff you would not willingly do, which can also, that can be like the big clue, that can be the biggest clue to um the FBI agent's involvement, because like we could see him get hypnotized at one of the shows and like be the clue that he is willing to be part of this, even though like he claims to not be. um 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 Yeah. Yeah, I think in casting also, like in casting for a remake, I may be shifting age dynamics around a bit anyway. Um because I was looking, I was like, "Oh, like going the contortionist route, um like if we want to make that as easy as possible, like who are some contortionists that are also actors? The one that sticks out being Doug Jones, um, who is a creature, mostly a creature actor that people are very familiar with. He was in Hellboy. He's worked with Del Toro a lot. Hellboy,
Mm,
Pan's Labyrinth, Crimson Peak, notably Shape of Water. Um, he also was the body actor for Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Um, so he's done mostly creature work, but he is an actual contortionist. Um, uh, of course, him being on the older side um, shifts age dynamics a lot since we're substituting the youngest member of the group for him, essentially. But yeah. Um so yeah. And maybe that could even be a thing where like that's part of the interpersonal conflict between the horsemen is like them all kind of wanting the spotlight, but like, they each have to use their skills for particular things. Um like I am now realizing there's a lot more parallels between the flaws of this franchise and the flaws of Danganronpa than I'm realizing. Because like another big complaint with Danganronpa for me is that like the ultimates rarely ever actually use their skills, and with Now You See Me, they all most of them have like individual skills, but there's also too much overlap where like they're using each other's supposedly signature skills. Um so yeah, actually with us wanting to focus on sleight of hand for the second heist, maybe that like we could take essentially like something like the card, um the sleight of hand heist in the middle of the second movie and do something like that. Um,
yeah, good work.
yeah, yeah, or like, yeah, and I like the that also works with like placing it like having the FBI agent be the plant. Um, like he could fill the role of the guy, the French guy who wears the helmet in the first heist, where like he goes in and like essentially helps them rob well, even though they're not actually robbing that bank at that time, it's just a misdirect. But um Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, first heist stays relatively the same, but we have Dylan Rhodes being the guy that they bring up. Um, and he acts like he doesn't want to be part of it. Um, and then for the second heist, we have uh, something more similar to the middle of the second movie, where there's some sort of sleight of hand thing going on. I mean, for an audience this time around.
Yeah.
Um, and then the third heist is the big magic show where the ultimate reveal is that they screwed their benefactor over out of a bunch of his money. Um, yeah. Um, okay. And then okay. So we figured that out. We figured out the structure of the heists. Um, what exactly they are doing the sleight of hand stuff to steal in the second heist, not entirely sure. It's not going to be like the computer stick from
Yeah.
the second movie because that doesn't make sense. But um um yeah. um I think we have I think we've got a good structure here. I think maybe a good thing to do, since I've been going for about 2 hours now, is to we we can discuss also from after this point, before next week, um if we have ideas to polish this up a bit, and then like give the final presentation next week, um along with like casting and stuff.
All right.
That seems like that could be a good way to go about this. um so then, apart from that, the neck the the last thing for this stream would be to pick another film to watch for next week, um to discuss Um, um, just looking at stuff on Tubi. There is also my mom actually brought up a film that we later found out is free on YouTube. Um, that could be an interesting one. Um, Unless you had any particular ideas for stuff that's free to stream that would be fun to discuss. Um,
Yeah, I don't know.
um, 'Cause yeah, I mean, there's some other. I took some notes on films that I was just scrolling Tubi and taking notes on films that caught my attention that might be make for good um, discussions. Um, yeah. Um, there are because go to. I'm not gonna. Nope, I don't want to play this. I want to. Wish it would tell you when films were leaving the service, because like there is a leaving soon section that I'm looking at, and there are some films that I'd be interested in maybe discussing, but I don't know when they're leaving. Um, Because the film that my mom brought up to my attention, um, that is apparently, um, someone uploaded it in its entirety on YouTube, um, is a spoof movie called Young Doctors in Love. Uh, it's a parody of various medical shows, particularly General Hospital. Um, has actors who were featured in General Hospital and such shows at the time. Uh, in particular, it is an early film role of Demi Moore. Um, Also features some other recognizable actors, including Sean Young, Michael McKean, um, Harry Dean Stanton, Michael Richards. Um, my mom showed me the trailer for it. It feels very airplane-esque. I'm not sure if it'll be good. It does have a 35% on Rotten Tomatoes, but that's only from 17 reviews. Ooh, the audience score is 34 with 1,000 plus. Um, I don't know. She showed me that there's a very long trailer she showed me, but a lot of the jokes in that, a few of the jokes in that made me chuckle. So I don't know. That could make for fun, light discussion. It's also only an hour and a half. Or do I want to do something that's leaving Tubi soon? Because there is some interesting stuff here. Yeah, I wish it labeled like what was leaving soon. It does label what's leaving soon, but I wish it labeled like when it's leaving. Because I want people to have, up to the, you know, next week to watch something. Under the leaving soon tab. I've actually never seen Full Metal Jacket. I didn't realize that was here. That might be a more in-depth discussion. I don't know if that's definitely not going to be a light discussion. Jupiter Ascending kind of caught my eye. So I've heard that one's really bad. But like has elements of so bad it's good. Particularly Eddie Redmayne's performance, I've heard, leans into that more ironic enjoyment value. Lost Boys is a genuine classic that's been a blind spot of mine for a while. Uh, 21 Jump Street is appealing. Idiocracy is one that's been on my radar, particularly because, so it was recommended to me and my mom a while back, actually back when Trump was reelected, because we went to this like de-stress event at a coffee shop. It was just like this coffee shop was like just open for people to just be there and like take their mind off of things. This couple that my mom and I were talking to a lot recommended this movie as like a very ahead of its time satire on what we're kind of going through right now. And I think it was the New York Times that did a poll of what film best describes America at 250 years old, and the movie that was the most common answer was Idiocracy. So that's been on my radar. Civil War is also on my radar. Trying to think of like Yeah, I'm guessing that man, I'm actually gonna quick because I think on my TV it has said like when stuff is leaving, when it's under leaving. If it's like soon, if it's like within the next couple days, it'll be like, oh, this is leaving within what, like leaving in 5 days. I want to see if that um shows up on the TV because again, it's not like when I'm looking on here, the films are just like all it like if I click a film it just goes to play it, whereas on the TV that's not the case. You can actually look at a description of the film and it might say like, oh, this is leaving this day. So I want to see if that is the case, because that may affect what I want to pick as next week's film discussion. Feel free if like anything jumps out to you of like, oh, that'd be interesting to talk about or hear about. Um, the fuck is my Scientology movie? What is that? Is that like pro or anti Scientology? Filmmaker Louis Theroux is denied admittance into the Church of Scientology's headquarters, setting into motion a clever, confrontational, and funny plan to try and reveal the inner workings of the mysterious organization. Okay, so it is a documentary of a guy trying to expose Scientology stuff. Oh, that's a TV show. Never mind. Okay. Let's see, like. Okay, so I'm looking on the TV here. Does it say when? It does not have a date for it. It doesn't say like leaving in such and such days. I thought I remember it saying on something like leaving in 5 days. Oh, it does. Okay, so for the Water Boy, it says 2 days left. Okay. So, like, then my assumption would be that anything else here would just be leaving at the end of the month, unless it says otherwise. And since next Monday is the last Monday of the month, it might be a good idea to take advantage and watch something that is leaving at the end of the month. Just be like, watch it before, what, sort of like watch it while you can thing. Um, which case I think I may. I think I may do it. I think I'm gonna pick Idiocracy, as long as it's not.
Alright.
Yeah, because it didn't specify like leaving in 2 days or anything for there, and that's one that like ever since like that was brought up that day, that's been in the back of my mind. Like I should watch that at some point, and that has just resurfaced more recently as like other people have been like, yeah, that's absolutely accurate to what we're going through today. Um so yeah, next week's film that we'll discuss. We will Jacob and I will work on fleshing out the it'll mostly probably be me working on fleshing it out, but like Jacob, if you have ideas for fleshing that out, feel free to shoot them my way.
Alright.
And then yeah, we'll watch it. So before next week, watch Idiocracy. It is on Tubi. Is it free on anything else? It's not free on anything else, but yeah. So and it's under 90 minutes as well. That's it's an hour 24, so it's a breezy watch. Well, a short watch. I don't know how breezy it is, but you know. Yeah. So that'll do it for this stream. So yeah. Until next time, peace.
How are you?